What's going on, guys? Jacoborth back here with another video of Jacob's Life in Vegas, coming to you guys as the sun is setting here in southern Nevada on a nice warm day, definitely over 100 degrees right now. But look at some of this beautiful sunset we got going on behind the mountains over there. See the palms and the Rio in the distance, Allegiant Stadium. There's the Strip. So it is a beautiful day here in southern Nevada, even with all the heat. But one thing that's not beautiful right now is what is going on here in Nevada when it comes to the implementation and the enforcement and all sorts of things surrounding this mask mandate that we have had just recently put into effect here in the state of Nevada by Governor Sisolak coming out of Carson City. So guys, go ahead and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so yet, because some of the stuff I'm going to talk about here can give you guys an idea of what to expect going forward here for the rest of the year 2021 until we start to head into 2022. Now, the mask mandate did go into effect recently, for the counties that were considered to be like moderate to higher risk. So technically not statewide, but it does apply to the whole state for depending on the county situation. I was actually a bit surprised that Nevada did that before California, because you heard that some of you probably heard that LA is doing the indoor mask mandate. I've heard that a lot of people are not following that over there. I would have expected California to do that before Nevada, so that was a bit surprising. But as we think about this mandate coming in, I did a poll on Twitter. I asked people, hey, should we have a new mask mandate from Governor Sisolak like the day he announced it? Some people were against it, some were supportive of it, and the comment section was definitely wild. My last video talking about what was going on, because it was everything from people saying, hey, you stupid anti-vaxxers would just get your vaccine, we wouldn't have to worry about this, saying you need to trust science, and people on the other side saying there is no science to prove this is all about control, this is all about, trying to manipulate the next election. I mean, it was wild in that comment section, but there were some thoughtful comments that came through, and there were some good points where, some people, they're not necessarily diehard one way or the other. They just maybe are weary of getting this vaccine. They don't quite trust the government. They're not sure about the long-term effects. There's lots of reasons why people might get it besides just, being like some complete anti-vaxxer, right? So here's the deal of what's going on in Nevada right now. So what I've seen around town, and I posted this the first day of the mandate, I've seen some big companies, right? So you go to the casino, they're going to have masks that you can wear going in there. Because enforcement in the casino, I mean, the first employee I talked to in the casino I was in recently, his mask was down below his mouth. So, I mean, he wasn't wearing properly. Others, for the most part, were. But, I mean, I would see customers walk the casino floor without a mask on. Most did have them on. But, customers without them on. Going to the grocery store several times since this happened. And the grocery store initially was giving out masks at the front of people. And I go the other day, and there's a family of 7 going into grocery shop. And they're like, oh, do you have masks? And the lady at the front goes, oh, no, we don't. So the family's like, oh, well. And they just went in, grocery shop without masks on. Inside the store, some people were wearing them, some people weren't. And nobody was saying anything. I've been to other businesses around town for different reasons. Some of these are not just I'm talking mom and pop, businesses have multiple locations here around town. And I can tell you from what I have seen here on the ground level that the enforcement is zero. I say zero, I mean zero enforcement in certain places. The first day of the mandate, I did see some more people wearing masks indoors, but people who weren't at places that I've gone to for different businesses, they say nothing. Sometimes employees aren't wearing them, sometimes managers are not wearing them at all, or they're wearing them improperly. If customers are not wearing them at all or improperly, no one says anything. Not an employee, not a manager, not a customer, no one says anything around here. So basically what's going on is Nevadans, for the most part, have basically ignored the mask mandate that came down from Governor Sisolak. Now, the mandate might sound nice on paper and it make some people feel good, but really, Nevadans are not following it. So any law, any mandate, rule, directive, anything like that comes from a government entity is useless if there's no ability to enforce it. And that's the situation we're in right now, where the government cannot enforce this on people. I mean, there's not the manpower available to make sure everybody inside every building here in the state of Nevada is wearing a mask, who is supposed to be. So if people were hoping, if you're someone who was hoping that this mandate would come in and people would, cooperate as much as or even more than before, and then the COVID problem in Nevada would be solved in, a few weeks, few months, whatever the case is, that's not going to happen. From what I'm seeing here on the ground level in this city, in this area, that is not going to happen. So many people are just ignoring the mandate, that there's no way that that's going to happen. So that might be a nice idea, but that's not reality. So, because there's just not the same level of fear as the first time around. It's just not. That's just what I'm seeing. So, and this puts Governor Sisolak in a tougher spot right now, because, I mean, think of what has happened going all the way back to the first shutdown. I remember we opened without a mask mandate, and then he brought a mandate. And then now we've gone back to a mandate again. So, but at this point, people are not even listening. Okay, the first time there was a mandate, there was more compliance, there was more enforcement, definitely, that I saw around town. But now I keep going back and forth on this. And I think it's interesting is a lot of these states, depending on the state's politics, whether it's majority Democrat or Republican state, you can kind of see how things have gone. Where you see like California and New York, they've earned their reputation for having some of the strictest requirements. Like those are very Democrat states. Then you have states like Texas and Florida who, after they reopened, they were like, no, we're not shutting down. They're like, screw it. They're like, we're not shutting back down. We're not taking any more federal money. They're like, we're staying open. We're not putting in any mandates or anything like that. Nevada's like this wobbling back and forth of like, we do it, but then we come back. And then we do it, we don't, then we do it, then we don't, then we do. Like, that's where Nevada is right now when it comes to this. And that's going to be a tough spot, because it's really like the worst of both worlds. I mean, you have with this new mandate coming in, because when I did the video talking about it, the COVID numbers and the mandate coming in, people are saying, hey, people are saying they're canceling their trips to come here, right? You could possibly lose conferences. So, think of like EDC, that's already been canceled twice. And that's a huge event. Granted, it's a younger crowd, it's the 18 and up crowd, but nonetheless, that's a big event to come here to Las Vegas, or something like SEMA show or other business conferences or trade shows or things like that. And this is just as businesses are starting to recover here in Nevada, and businesses are starting to really get their feet back underneath them. So, you're at the spot where you could lose some businesses because of this mandate, and you could also lose people coming here because of this mandate, and people aren't following it. It might be one thing if there was in effect and people followed it, but you have people who just don't follow it. And I also heard, take this for what you will, but, although we're at the risk of losing some conferences, is that supposedly certain conferences or conventions said they were only going to come back to Las Vegas or have, an event here if there was a mandate, a mask mandate indoors. So who knows the truth of it either way when it comes to, the business side and how it's going to impact us. But a big thing to remember when it comes to Nevada, and this is a part that, really calls into question the mandate, is, and I mentioned this before, think of when people come here, people come here, they're on the Strip, they're out here, right? They come to an event, right? They're out having fun, they're partying, drinking, going to restaurants, whatever they're doing when they're here on their vacation, right? So people come here, they're usually going to be around other tourists. Most of the tourists who come here are not interacting mostly with Nevadans, people who actually live here. Yes, in the hotels, the casinos, they will, and that kind of thing. But I mean, if you're coming here and you're staying on the Strip or on Fremont Street, you're mostly going to be interacting with people who are coming from other states and other countries. Because remember now, people from Canada and Mexico can visit, as well as people from all of the state, as well as visit from other states. So if someone comes here from Ohio and say you're able to trace that they got COVID from somebody in California, what is that going to do? Like, what does the new mandate do for Nevadans that prevents that? Like, how does having a mask mandate for Nevadans, prevent a tourist from Ohio on the Strip getting COVID from a tourist from California? So again, it kind of calls into question the idea of like, okay, this may sound good, but is this really going to solve anything? Now, from here, we have to think, where can, the state of Nevada go? What can the governor do at this point? Because people are not listening to a mask mandate. So, I mean, basically you can get to a point where you can either double down and try to implement social distancing again, capacity limits and things like that. But I have a feeling that that's going to go about the same way as this mask mandate has now. Maybe like the big corporations, big businesses will follow because they got a lot of liability. But I think some of these smaller ones who are like, you just barely survived the first shutdown or barely survived, the first time around, they're gonna be like, screw it. They're probably not gonna listen. That's what I think. I don't think it's I don't see getting the same level of compliance as the first time around. I just do not see it happening. So if that's not gonna happen, then what else can you do at this point? Because the government essentially has no teeth right now. They can't enforce these new rules that they're putting into effect. And if we do get to the point where, all right, say Governor Sisolak goes, the only thing you can do is another shutdown to try to make Nevada safe, Well, how many businesses are going to survive another shutdown here, right? I mean, the state of Nevada and the city of Las Vegas were on 2 lists for being the highest, some of the highest in the country for states and a city that had the most small businesses close. So at a place that's very dependent on tourism, that would hurt us big time. But even then, let's run that scenario. Okay, say you do shut down for, let's just say 1 month, make it simple. Shut down for 1 month, everything's okay. COVID is now gone from every single person who lives in Nevada. What about all the people who are going to continue to keep moving here? What about all the people who are going to start visiting again? So, I mean, Nevada has no control over what's going on with tourists who are visiting from Florida, from Nebraska, from Canada, from Mexico, New York, wherever they're coming from. Nevada has zero control over that. So even if we try to do what we can here, you know, among the local population, in a place that has millions of people visiting month after month after month in a normal year, what else can we do? So that's a big question, and that's what's going on with this mask mandate. People just, for the most part, ignoring this. So from here, what happens the rest of 2021? Who knows? Who knows if it gets really ugly and the economy really goes down again? Who knows if the restrictions get more strict? Who knows if they basically leave this mask mandate into effect, but, you know, it just continues as is, or people are just ignoring it? We're gonna have to see what happens, but it's a strange spot because, you know, the flip-flopping between mandates, the fact that people are just ignoring it now, the government seems to have, you know, less and less influence over the situation the longer this goes on, and more people seem to just, again, be disregarding the whole thing. So I want to hear what you guys have to say about this down below. This is what is happening here in Nevada. This is definitely an unusual scenario, but this is what's going on right now. So if you're planning your vacation, you can use this information to help you out. I appreciate all of you watching. That is going to be it for this video. I am Jacob, and this is My Life in Vegas.